Model engineering for beginners, machining small parts. Machining very small pieces of metal can be difficult. In this video I am making a new valve rocker shaft for a Stewart Grasshopper beam engine, to replace the previous one, which as you can see is broken. I machined the ends of the piece of bar down to 1/8 of an inch. And this is not as easy as it seems. The main length of bar is 5/32 of an inch. So I just have to remove a small amount of metal to get 1/8 of an inch diameter on each end. The valve gear operating levers on many Stewart engines use this method, and over the years I've encountered many problems with the driving lever working loose and rotating on the shaft. I cross-drilled and pinned this one with an 8BA bolt, but unfortunately, possibly owing to hydraulic lock, the whole thing sheared off. I will take the dimensions from the original rocking arm and make a new one. I found a suitable piece of steel which was 5/32 of an inch in diameter, and here I'm checking this with my micrometer. The job begins. First of all, I make a felt tip pen mark on the new piece of steel, a bit longer than what remains of the end of the old part. The next job is to use the bandsaw to cut this to length. The felt tip pen mark is further out than it needs to be, so the part I'm making will be slightly longer than the old one. I didn't cut this piece of metal very straight on the bandsaw, the blade wandered about, so I fitted it in the chuck of my ML7R lathe, and here I'm facing the end with a carbide tip tool, which is not very sharp, although it does give quite a good longitudinal finish. The problem is that the tool tip is rounded, very slightly, but rounded nevertheless. For this application I need a perfectly square shoulder to fit the valve gear operating levers to. This tool is definitely blunt. I'm not getting a good finish on the work, and it's creating a rather large burr where the turned part meets the 5/32 of an inch diameter bar. Normally for jobs like this I use a different method. I'm using a small parting tool instead of the standard lathe tool. This small parting tool is a long way out of the tool holder, and that's for the purposes of the video, so that the tool post doesn't get in the way of the shot. Needless to say, I'm taking very fine cuts. This is the end that is not going to be fitted with an operating lever. Here I'm using a needle file to remove the very small burr that is created by the parting tool. You can see in this clip that I really am taking very fine cuts, and the problem is when turning small pieces of metal, or even larger ones but to a lesser extent, the piece of metal that is furthest from the chuck does move away from the cutting tool. So I would take several passes of the end of the piece of work and then take a very fine cut all the way down, or all along the work depending on the way you wish to look at it. Before anybody writes in, I am aware that there are different methods of doing this job, but I am adopting the small home workshop method. It's quick and it gets the job done. When I use my trusty old Moore and Wright micrometer, it tells me that this part is exactly 1/8 of an inch in diameter. And to check this, I've fitted one of the valve link arms to the part. It fits perfectly. This end is exactly the same length as the original rocking shaft. The dimension was taken from the original undamaged part of the shaft. Now all I have to do is turn the shaft around in the chuck and machine the other end, and this is more difficult. The end of this side of the bar, which needs to be machined to 1/8 of an inch in diameter, is considerably longer than the other one that you've just seen me make. And that's why I'm moving the cutting tool back and forth at the end of the work to remove the excess, because don't forget, the thinner the piece of metal and the further away it is from the chuck, the more it will move away from the cutting tool. A good solution is to use a very fine center drill the end and fit a live center, as you see here. This holds the piece of bar in the correct position and does not allow it to move away from the cutting tool. Don't worry if you don't have really small center drills or a live center. It's not essential to do it this way. In fact, in the end, I didn't do it this way. I was so busy watching the live center, I turned this end of the shaft undersize. So this part is going in my drawer of shame, full of bits and pieces that I should have made better than I did. The good news though is over the years my drawer of shame has less and less things in it, and now this part is just one of the components in the drawer. You can see in this clip that it is definitely too small for the job. Take two. Back over now to the bandsaw to cut another piece of 5/32 of an inch diameter steel bar. And this time I cut the long end first, using my technique of taking quite a few passes at the end like this, which definitely helps to stop the end part of the piece of metal being cut from moving away from the cutting tool. And as you can see here, I do this every time before I get to the final cut that gives me the 1/8 of an inch diameter that I need all the way down. Using my micrometer on different parts of the bar tells me that it is just a tiny bit over 1/8 of an inch in diameter, so a final cut in the opposite direction, followed by first using 400 grade wet dry sandpaper, followed by Scotch-Brite, gives me the finish that I require. The micrometer confirms that the end of this piece of metal is now 1/8 of an inch diameter all the way down. I turn the part around in the chuck and machine the other end, followed by using 400 grade wet dry sandpaper and finally a piece of Scotch-Brite. The job is almost complete. I put the original part on top of the new part to make sure that dimensionally it was correct. All I need to do now is drill 2 detents in the main part of the shaft to take the sharpened grub screws to secure the arms. Once I'd done that, I fitted the sharpened grub screws, and these arms are definitely not going to move on this shaft. The operating arm that takes all the pressure now has a grub screw in either side. All the owner of the engine will now have to do is assemble these parts and file a shallow flat at each side of the rocking arm, tighten the grub screws, and this will prevent it from moving. These grub screws, by the way, haven't been sharpened, they are standard ones that will grip the shaft. And that's it, I got it right the second time. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.